We have come to that point where we need to toughen up, and our convictions about Jesus, our loyalty to Jesus, is supposed to be the hallmark of our belief system.
Eschatology, the study of end times, often stirs fear. But today, we'll explore with clarity and care. Eschatology can feel unsettling, but it also challenges us to examine our lives with honesty. In the next few minutes, we'll explore this subject matters considering ethics and daily living. This is Alethea. Before we begin, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if this channel has been a blessing to you, please give us a thumbs up. It helps us keep bringing you more content like this. Thank you.
All the times that God came for his people, we want to see the pattern of God coming for his people. Because what the pre-tribulation rapture is suggesting is that the saints are going to be raptured. Then maybe the weak ones and the unbelievers will be left behind. And then eventually Jesus is going to come back. So it paints a picture of two visitations, rapture and the eventual second coming. But if we check all the times that God came for his people, God did not come twice. When we check how he came for his people that were waiting for him in Egypt, he came for them once. When we check the way he came in the day of Noah, salvation was in that ark. And apart from that ark, there was no other palliative that was available. When you check the time of Lot, you will discover that God came once. We cannot reinvent God. It is not possible to reinvent God. The thing about God is that he's a constant. We are variables. And what we do is that we try to align with him, especially when it is very clear what God's perspective on the matter actually is. So that's the first point. The first point is a pattern has been established of the way God deals with his people in terms of bringing them out of the world system, brought Israel out of Egypt. He didn't return to look for the remnants. If you were not in that company of people that walked out of that nation called Egypt, there was no plan B for you. That means anything we believe, we have to believe it very well, because there is no plan B. Now, we are trying to create a situation that suggests that, okay, God will show up, rapture also. As we are in this service now, just praying, then we'll just disappear from here. And then maybe some other guys will carry on with life, and then Jesus will eventually come back. Second point I would like us to notice is the presence of the use of the word saints, S-A-I-N-T-S, saints in the book of Revelation. So we want to see the spread of that word, because that word happens to be a word that is exclusively for believers in Jesus. All right? The first time you find the word saints in the book of Revelation is in Revelation chapter 5, verse 8. And when he had taken the book, the 4 beasts and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, having everyone harps and golden vials, which are the prayers of the saints. The second time you find that it still has to do with the prayers of the saints. Revelation chapter 8, verse 3 and 4. Another angel came and sounded at the altar, having a golden censer, and there was given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne. And the smoke of the incense which came with the prayers of the saints ascended up before God out of the angel's hands. It's as if the raw material that will be coming from the earth, the raw material that will be coming from the earth into heaven's sanctuary that will occasion the many deliverances that God is going to be orchestrating in the time of the end is going to be facilitated by prayer. The spirit of prayer, in a different measure, will be poured out because that is our own aspect of the partnership. You see, when you are living a life that is totally dependent on God, and if anything will happen, it will be by God, you will take prayer seriously. But if you have other alternatives of how to get by, your prayer will be an alternative. It will be a good Christian culture. It will not be something you live on, you survive by. But when we see the volume of prayer and the way prayers are administered in the heavenly sanctuary, you will find out that so many other things are happening. But what is ascending into heaven and occasioning an intervention? What is ascending into heaven and mingling with the intelligence of the priesthood that is overhead to provide support, to provide sustenance in these days of the end is going to be facilitated by prayer. Now, we have a situation where the average believer is not fluent in the place of prayer. Such a believer will naturally hope that, okay, the helicopter principle is going to be our saving grace. We'll just helicopter. That's his natural disposition. He's naturally going to fight anything that suggests otherwise because his security is not guaranteed. You see, I would like us to take your time when you get back home and see the volume of prayer that moves things. And in this priesthood that we read about in the book of Revelation chapter 8 is a prayer of all saints that was gathered, not Lagos saints, not New York, all saints. It came as orders, and there were vessels in that sanctuary that were used to measure, to store prayer. There were several things that God will not do until prayer gets to a certain level. The resource that we see earth producing, manufacturing lavishly in partnership with God in those days is meticulously and consciously provided in the spirit of prayer. Revelation chapter 11 verse 18. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come, and the time of the dead, and that they should be judged, and that thou shouldest give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the saints, and to them that fear thy name, small and great, and shouldest destroy them which destroyed the earth. That is 11 verse 18. Revelation chapter 13 verse 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints. It means there's someone that's going to make war with the saints. And there's a him there. And to overcome them. That means saints will be overcome. Saints will not be in charge. God will allow this foe to be in charge of a certain period, and saints will still be available. And this one will be given the ability to overcome the saints. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And this global, even Idoma people will be subdued by this. We're just using saints as a navigator. He was given authority, he was given the license to make war against the saints and to overcome them. Like now, we're all on lockdown. And the reason why we're on lockdown is not because we don't want to move. In fact, we never knew government was this strong until now. Against your fundamental human rights, you're on lockdown. The other day we were trying to do a quiet wedding, which was consistent with the social distancing principle and the maximum number of people for Benue State, which is 30. We didn't even reach that number. And the police came to arrest us. One of our pastors had to submit himself for arrest before we continued the wedding and finished. Meanwhile, what are we doing? They came into the hall and saw that we're socially distanced and that there was no crime according to the law. But someone was arrested. The person that was arrested did not leave home with a knowledge that he will be arrested. And this is not happening in our dreams, it's happening live. Meanwhile, this enemy has not been empowered to overcome the saints yet. The social distancing, just 14 days was lockdown, 14 extra days was added. Just 14 extra days. And the pressure and the hunger was on the high side that even noble men became armed robbers. A truck of foodstuff was passing by and they invaded it. That's just 14 days of lockdown. I'm not saying nobody's pointing a gun to your head and say deny Jesus and then we'll just lockdown. That shows our level of resilience. In this church, this utopian church, where the ultimate gospel is heaven on earth, and nobody understands the dealings of God as it has to do with his kingdom, and that's the ultimate revelation of God, is how God rules, is what God has chosen, is what God has ordained. Your faith can't change it. Your prayer can't change it. Because the will of God is superior to your prayer. This is just 14 days additional lockdown. And from the figures that we are seeing, there's a likelihood that it's still going to be extended. And the season we're talking about has not yet come. But it is easier for the liberal to think that, oh, things will be in conformity with my expectation because I cannot survive that. When your condition was not put, you see, the kingdom, the program of God is superior to your issues. Okay, if we are saying that, oh, we were born at a time where Christianity is no longer challenged. I was there with some Redeemed pastors and they showed me the dead bodies of members of Redeemed Church in Maiduguri that refused to deny Jesus and they were killed. Because the people that came wanted to get them to denounce Jesus. They said, no, if that's the contract, any other thing we can do, we are willing to suffer, we are willing to be carrying concrete for you, carrying water for you. But if you are saying we should deny our faith, that is impossible. And they were killed. They were showing me. I couldn't pick the pictures. I couldn't look at it. This is not happening in our dreams. This is real. We have already had a taste of this kind of situation in Nigeria, and we are still having it now. But it is better, as human beings, if something is not affecting you directly, it's very easy for you to claim it's not existing. When there was a bomb at Nyanya, and so many people were roasted by the bomb, because it didn't affect any of us directly, it's not a big issue. You just say, let the Lord have his way. And we have many church ways of turning our eyes away from the pains of others. And the death toll increases. The people that Corona has infected are not, the number is not equal to the people that have died by the hand of Boko Haram. Another episode was the herdsmen. These ones were not confined to the northeast. They walked in our corridors, walked close to our houses. They were on the streets. They vandalized vehicles. And there was this enmity that was against believers in Jesus. These are little tribulations that are coming. These are not persecutions, these are tribulations. And these are the beginning of sorrows. Trying to give us an idea that seasons have changed and that the mystery of iniquity is already working. Imagine, I don't know what nation is that. They already have a law that it is compulsory for everybody to use that vaccine even before the vaccine. Well, Denmark, they already have a law that everybody must use that vaccine even before the vaccine was manufactured. Then when you decide to stand against government because of your convictions, that's when you will know how powerful government can be. It is easy to throw your eyes away and say, oh, let us hide in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And it will give us comfort. You were born at the wrong time. And you need to wake up. Because the Bible says in Ramah, Rachel was weeping and mourning for her children. and refused to be comforted because there were no more. Those children were children at the wrong time. You can't say you're an anti-believer and that's your level of preparedness. The contradictions in these seasons are going to be many. And then our faith, if indeed we have conviction, many more times will be tested in the area of our loyalty to Jesus. And every believer will have to be armed in the days in which we live. My friends are being cut off from the Northeast terrorist movement just because they say no, say something else, I will bow to it. But I am fused with my conviction like hand and glove. And if my conviction is no longer existing, then I'm no longer existing. And that answer was quite offensive. And they were killed. We have come to that point where we need to toughen up. And our convictions about Jesus, our loyalty to Jesus, is supposed to be the hallmark of our belief system. As much as possible, if you have a ministry jet, use it very well. We're not saying you don't need a jet, you do. If we want to cover Africa and the time is short, we need to employ technology, we need to get some assets to be able to deploy God's mission. But at any point in time where the assets and the things that are available become part of our status symbol, we sell it to sell our image, we are already part of Babylon. We're already sick with the disease that Lot's wife had, for which she was rejected. It means that our soul reveres another God that is in the city. It's in the city that God is coming to judge. And the judgment of that city will inevitably affect us. Hallelujah. Several people have built their enterprise, built their lives, and their soul is anchored to the systems of this world. That's what they call Christianity. That's living without conviction. It means Jesus cannot say, walk away, that you walk away, because you are so rooted in the systems of the world. And that's the greatest level of deception. And high-powered spirits of deception are going to be unleashed at such a time. I mean, high powers. You are not that intelligent. You knew fornication was wrong and you still fornicated. So it's not an issue of lack of knowledge. We are talking about spirits of deception that are stronger than human intelligence. We go to work.
Thanks for exploring these big questions with me. If today's dive into eschatology sparked new questions, share them in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so we can continue this thoughtful journey together. Until next time, may your questions lead to wisdom and your mornings to meaning.